Hello, my name is Regal, and today I'm going to be doing a demo for casting Dota 2 at the Winter Games Fest, which is happening this weekend at UCSD. Here I'm just doing a cast of a CM matchmaking game between a local UCSD team. I believe they go by Sprink, and they're going to be playing against a random team on the other side. The UCSD is led by level 45 Chocobo Mage, Kronos, Star, DeGenero, and Remy, and of course they're playing against a more or less random team on the other side. So we see the picks and bans underway here. Very common bans, starting with the Dire. Dire banned Batrider and Undying, and the Radiant banned the Magnus and the Nyx Assassin. Very common. So this leaves open some very important options, and we see here the first pick, Darkseer. Nothing really surprising there. Darkseer, a very powerful hero, fits in just about every strategy and can win almost all of his lanes one-on-one. Surprisingly, they decided to take him over the Keeper of the Light, who is also a very, very strong support in this metagame. But I definitely respect the decision because Darkseer is just an all-around good hero and reveals nothing about your strategy to the opposing team. Whereas if you pick a Keeper of the Light, you do reveal that you're planning to go more or less almost certainly for a tri-lane. So we're going to wait and see what kind of response the Radiant come up with. Their first pick is going to be Jakiro, which is very interesting. Jakiro is a very strong support in this metagame. His Ith Path, though he got nerfed a little bit recently, is still very, very strong. Very difficult to miss and a huge area of effect. And of course the Liquid Fire very against towers, and the Macro Pyre, that is, sorry. The Macro Pyre is a decently strong teamfight ability, and if you do stay in the Macro Pyre, you do take a lot of damage in fights. The Lone Druid being the second pick, I'm almost certain that the Lone Druid, even though he's a strong hero in his own right, he's going to be pit against the Darkseer in lane. Darkseer is very strong in lane with his Ion Shell, but Lone Druid with his Bear is one of the few heroes that can really stand against the Darkseer and still get farm without losing towers. So a very good decision there to pick up the Lone Druid early, although I'm not sure that the Dire would have taken him, but it's certainly possible. The Bear with Surge and the Ion Shell is very scary, and a very strong chaser. So in response to the Lone Druid and Jakiro, we see the Rubik and the Luna picked up by the Dire. Now, Luna is a very strong carry in this metagame. She can 5-man really, really well. Her ult does a lot of damage. Her buff is very strong starting from level 1, and her nuke hits very hard. She also runs really fast and can farm and push quickly. So she's a very strong hero and a very good carry in this metagame. However, again, I'm surprised that they did not respect the Keeper of the Light pick. We see the Keeper of the Light as the third pick for the Radiant. Surprising that they even got that far, although of course, this being a CM game and public matchmaking, it's not the rigidity of the picks is not that high. So the Rubik and the Luna, Rubik is almost certainly going to be played as support this game, whereas Keeper of the Light is also going to fill that role. Now, we enter the second phase of bans, so we see that both teams have a very well-rounded lineup. The Keeper of the Light and Jakiro don't have necessarily the best synergy because while Jakiro has a very strong Ith Path stun, it can miss and it can be avoided, although it's difficult, certainly. But the Ith Path is not a reliable stun, which is what a Keeper of the Light really looks for. However, the Illuminate is so strong in its own right that you almost don't even need a setup stun if you can line it up properly against the tri-lane. So I'm suspecting that the Dire is going to be trying to dodge the tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, which they have to expect that with the Lone Druid pick against the Darkseer, they're going to be putting the Lone Druid in the safe lane, an aggressive tri-lane, and they're going to pick up a mid-hero. So here, they very smartly target a ban of the Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer is a relatively popular carry. There are still several left that there's still several tri-lane carries left for the Radiant to take. For example, Night Stalker, Phantom Lancer, who has been banned. Even something like Naga Siren, even though she's not that popular anymore, the Naga Siren is very strong against, or Naga Siren's net is very strong with the Keeper of the Light. And that, of course, holds them in place while the Illuminate comes down over them. There are still some other options such as Sven, who's also very good with the Keeper. Even Chaos Knight, even though we haven't seen it very often. But there are a lot of options open for that. Here we see a Juggernaut ban, which is interesting. Juggernaut, a hero that was very fearsome a few months back at the International. We haven't seen too much of Juggernaut of recent times, but of course he's a very good hero in 5v5 situations and in the early game. His Blade Fury is very strong in the earlier game, and his Healing Ward is very good for pushing. And while he doesn't scale that well into the late game, and while he's also a melee hero, he is an agility carry that does good work in teamfights with his ultimate. Lina bans the secondary support, very smart. Lina plus Rubik is a very good combo. The Rubik will use Telekinesis as a lift, and then when they fall down, Lina will follow up with a Light Strike Array because, of course, the Telekinesis hold them in place. So it's a very difficult combo to go against, and a very high damage combo to go against in lane when Rubik and Lina are together, and they can gank very well because of Telekinesis long range. Excuse me. So the last ban we see Gyrocopter. So we see the Dire banning three what I would call unconventional carries. We don't see them banning heroes like the Anti-Mage or the Sven, or the Naga Siren, the carries that are more hard carries. But instead we see them banning the unconventional or like the mid-game carries. I'm surprised we didn't see a Night Stalker banning here, but of course the Night Stalker was taken out by the Radiant. First pick out of the second ban phase, we see a Brewmaster. Now, the Brewmaster is almost certainly going to go mid. Brewmaster, of course, mostly picked for his Primal Spit ability, which is a very, very strong teamfight ability, but of course on a very long cooldown. The cooldown level 1 is 160 and 140 at level 2, so after you use it, it's almost 2 or 3 minutes before you can use it again, which of course limits his ability very much, because Brewmaster without his ult is a completely different hero. And interestingly, we see an Invoker pickup. Now, Invoker is a hero that we haven't seen in a very long time. Of course, like we have seen Invoker played, but he's definitely fallen out of favor since the International, where he was, one of the first picks, or one of the most prominent picks throughout the entire tournament. Especially the Chinese teams used to love him, used to play him quite a bit. He's fallen out of favor a bit lately, and even though he wasn't nerfed, to a large extent, so it'll be interesting is to see what the Invoker goes for this game, whether he goes for the Quaswex build or the Exhort build. And we're just going to wait for the last pick here. I'm expecting another support, so were the Radiant with the ban of Lina. I'm guessing they're not afraid of any other supports except for the Lina. There's not too many supports that combo with the Rubik except for the Leshrac, but Leshrac is not a very good hero in this patch particularly. I wouldn't be surprised to see a jungler. They definitely don't want to fight the Keeper of the Light, so they're going to find ways around having to enter a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. So now I'm expecting a Jakiro Keeper of the Light plus a carry lane with the Invoker mid and the Lone Druid on the safe lane. So that has to be the obvious choice here. And we see a Klink's last pick, which is interesting because this means that the Darkseer is going to be shifted almost soon to the jungle. We're going to have the Luna and the Rubik together with the Brewmaster in mid, or in the Klinks in the side lane. Of course, in this version, the lanes are very, very they're very volatile. They change very quickly. So it's not as important to discuss where the lanes are as it is to follow the movements of the heroes as the game progresses. Just waiting on the last pick from the Dire here, or from the Radiant, sorry. They have their 2 supports, they have 2 solos, so now they're just looking for something to pair with their 2 supports. I'm expecting a hero that can farm up very well and very quickly, but can also provide a little bit of assistance in early team fights. Because they have Keeper of the Light and Jakiro, 2 heroes with soft disables, or rather non-targeted disables that can miss, it'll be very helpful to pick up a hero that can provide a hard lockdown. Lifestealer is one such example. The other thing I was thinking about was the Sven. So Lifestealer, a very strong hero in this version, very, very tanky, and does a lot of damage with very few items. He's also very survivable. The Rage ability is almost a free BKB, a 6-second duration on level 4 with a 15-second cooldown. So in teamfights he'll usually get 2, maybe sometimes even 3 of the teamfight regular for a long time. And against this team, it's a very good ability. It allows him to dodge all of the Brewmaster spells, all of the Luna's ultimates, even though he will still take the auto attack damage, of course. The only thing he really has to worry about is the Klinks, who dishes out a lot of physical damage. In fact, the entire Radiant team is going to have problems dealing with the Klinks. Klinx is a very mobile hero, especially after he gets to BKB, very hard to lock down. And we'll talk about that right after we talk about the lineups of the teams. So let's go through the, hold on, let me take off the direct camera. Okay, so let's go through the Dire really quickly. We see Star playing the Invoker. We see Chronos playing the Lifestealer. Did not get pulled region. We see DeGenero playing the Jakiro, playing support this game, even though he usually plays mid. We have double Stout Shield. We have Remy playing the Lone Druid, accidentally buying 2 Stout Shield, but it's okay. He just sells one back. And we see level 45 Red Chocobo Mage. I'll be referring to him as Chocobo from now on, and he's playing the Keeper of the Light. It looks like Keeper of the Light and Jakiro are going to be heading to the bottom lane. I'm guessing with the Nyx, yep. And on the other team, we have Phase Checker playing the Luna, XXX Mario Burgers, XXX playing the Darkseer. We see the Rubik, played by Blah Man.
30 seconds to battle.
We see in mid the Brewmaster, no surprise there, and we see Klinx on the off lane. Now this is very interesting because I would expect them to not try to challenge the Coddle in the tri lane. They had to expect that the Lone Druid is going to be solo safe lane. Like it's to me it was a very obvious. To me, it was a very obvious laning choice by the Dire. So it interests me that they're challenging the tri lane with a dual lane. So I'm expecting this Luna to not get very much, while the Klinx and the Lone Druid should be pretty even. Now, Lone Druid is a very strong solo. So is Klinx, but there's no way Klinx is going to be able to stop a Lone Druid from farming very effectively unless the Lone Druid makes some mistakes or gets camped. So the first wards go down. We see a Radiant ward here blocking the pull. Or does that, I'm not sure if that block. I think that blocks the pull. Not entirely sure on that one. We see a Dire ward here doing the same. Also, this one clearly blocks the pull. We see a second Dire ward. Interesting. So they're very committed to protecting this tri lane, even though most of their roaming heroes are actually in this lane. They're very committed to keeping this lane protected. Even though I'm not sure that the Brewmaster would ever gank, so I'm not sure about the utility of this ward in particular. It might have been more useful here, but of course it's up to them. And we see a single ward by the Radiant in the bottom river. Nothing surprising there. This ward, of course, watches for the Keeper of the Light, who often camps in this area, or in this area, just in this general area, and charges up his Illuminate. Of course, against the Keeper of the Light in lane, you have to be very careful. You have to always be watching for the Illuminate channel. The spell deals insane amount of damage at level 1. If you get hit by a full Illuminate, that's basically one region item down the drain, like one entire region item. So it can swing lanes very quickly, especially in a tri-lane situation where he has setup. We see the Darkseer coming in for a gank, or just some I guess he's just applying lane pressure. He just turns out Iron Shell and runs through the lane, runs at the Jakiro, lands a very good Ice Path to save himself, and the Darkseer is forced to turn around. Decent trade for the Darkseer, but I feel like he could have gotten much more in the jungle. So the Keeper of Light taking up his position in the woods, Chakra Magic on himself, and there goes the first Illuminate. However, he is immediately discovered, lets the Illuminate go, and he gets caught by the Telekinesis, and he might go down here. I think with good blocking, the Darkseer will kill him. The Darkseer turns on his Surge on himself, so no more Surge for the remainder of this fight. Another kill on the Jakiro, but the Nyx did pick up a kill on the Luna. So the carry goes down, but it looks like the Nyx is also going to go down here. So very, very bad trade for the UCSD. Oh no, the Nyx might just barely survive. Oh, beautiful Ice Path by the Jakiro, long range after the teleport to save the Nyx, and it looks like the Rubik is going to pay for his chasing. A very beautiful Ice Path. Teleported, immediately cast the Ice Path in the perfect position to stop the Darkseer's Ion Shell from doing damage. Nyx immediately potted up and then turn around for the kill. And it looks like set up Ice Path with the Ice Path setting up the Illuminate. Ice Path, of course, set up by the Open Wounds. We see a lot of pressure being applied to this lane. Luna takes about half her HP in damage, and like I said, she's already going through her regen at a very quick rate. She's down to about half HP, she only has one regen item left. And she's gotten, let me turn on the CS. She's gotten, wait. There we go. I'm a bit rusty at this, sorry. we see that she's gotten only 1 CS so far in this game, so she's very far behind, whereas the Nakes has only 6 CS, but he did get pressured by the Darkseer early on in the game, so that's to be expected. The Jakiro in the woods, looks like he's trying to set up for an ice path. He hits the ice path, but they can't cover it off with the surge already on. Very beautiful ice path, but it's too bad they couldn't make something out of it. Let's take a look at the other lanes for a second. Looks like in mid, the Brewmaster is very much outlasting the Invoker. The Invoker, interestingly, is going for an Exort build, but going for the Wex item build. So starting with the Blades of Attack, rushing the Phase Boots, but this means that he has no Wex, so no Ghost Walk to escape, but he does have very high damage. Unfortunately, he's not lasting very well, and it looks like the Brewmaster is going to make a go on the Invoker. He has no way to defend himself. He only has 1 Cold Snap, pops the Cold Snap, and survives, but he's going to have to pot up and leave the lane probably. Top lane, the Lone Druid is 19 for 7. Respectable amount at this point in time, a little less than 5 a minute. But in an unprotected lane, that's to be expected. The Klinks is at 10 for 1. But Klinks is only at level 2 Searing Arrows. When he hits level 5, and especially level 7, expect his CS to get much better, because the Searing Arrows at that point will be doing much more damage. Now we see movement by the Darkseer again. He's barely jungle baiting, he's only level 3. He hasn't spent much time in the jungle at all. Here comes the Brewmaster from the back. He walked right through a ward, so I'm not sure what happened there. The Jakiro is going to try to escape, and he looks like he will not escape with his life. Not even very close, but it was a good attempt. The Nyx is now alone in this lane against 4 players. Looks like the Invoker is getting some needed time to catch up. He's level 6 now. He has Phase Boots finished. However, he is still 2 CS behind the Brewmaster. Excuse me. Looks like the Darkseer is just camping in this lane. I haven't seen him jungle very much, although he is level 4. Which is respectable, although he could have, he's about 1 or 2 levels behind the point at which he would be if he were free farming. The Nakes is the Life Stealer, sorry, is level 4 also, but of course he's been in a tri-lane. Let's take a look at the levels really quickly. We see that the solos are of course the highest in the game, with the Lone Druid slightly above the Klinks. Interestingly, we also see a level 5 Rubik. The Rubik is way out leveling both the Keeper of the Light and the Jakiro by 2 levels over both of them. So he's been getting a lot of experience in this lane. He hasn't been pulling it out. He's really just been camping here and trying to set up ganks and kills. We see that, I guess this ward was not placed in vain. Sorry, this ward was not placed in vain. We've seen many ganks from the Darkseer. I do have to, oh, scratch that thought, here comes a fight. We have the Rubik being gone on, but he quickly escapes with the Surge, but the Luna might not be so late. Sunstrike set up, beautiful Sunstrike, catches a Luna who was under the Dual Breath slow at the time, and takes her out. So very well done by the Invoker. So again, we see the power of the Colo Tri-Lane. His Illuminate just does so much damage, and his Chakra Magic provides a lot of mana to the rest of the team in the lane. And of course the Nakes with his large damage potential, as well as the very strong slow from open wounds, setting up a lot of kills in this lane. Of course, Rubik and Darkseer both are very good defensive heroes. Darkseer, of course, with the Surge, and Rubik with the Telekinesis to pull people off. And of course, also good at setting up kills. So, interestingly, in this lane, we see the Keeper of the Light and the Jakiro staying very close in the lane rather than in the jungle. A lot of the time, like I pointed out before, the Keeper of the Light will spend a lot of his time here in the jungle, setting up Illuminates and pressuring the tower rather than behind in the lane, where he has a lot of trouble setting up his blasts without being spotted. Looks like the lane is quiet for now, so let's take a quick look at the other lanes. We see that Evoker has finished his Phase Boots and is going for his 4 staff. He has landed, I'm pretty sure he has only shot 1 Sunstrike so far this game, but it's been a good one, and picked up Luna, who's very far behind. He's at 7 last hits right now, compared to the carriers from another team who are at 35 and 28 respectively. We see a level 8 on the Lone Druid. He's going to enter his bear form here in his top lane. He has his Tranquil Boots and an Orb of Venom, so it looks like he's going to be saving it for his Relic now. He's leading the CS in the game, and now Invoker has overtaken the Brewmaster, but of course Brewmaster has been roaming a little bit, whereas the Invoker has stayed mostly static. Now, we see a little bit of fight over there with the Jakiro takes the Haste Rune, but gets vacuumed. I believe it was a vacuum. Yeah, so he gets vacuumed within the high ground without a teleport, so he's going to have to wait for the crow, or he's going to have to tango out of the trees, and it looks like he tried to do that but failed. Oh, a very nice ice path, almost, he's stuck up here, but he did land an ice path in the dual breath to harass. However, the Keeper of the Light did not escape that area fast enough and was quickly dispatched. A little bit of a mistake there, I feel. I feel like the Jakiro with his vision up here could have, maybe not easily, but he definitely could have survived without dying, but the Keeper of the Light should have known to run as soon as he saw enemies coming. So looks like we're going to pick off the Darkseer here. The Brewmaster got hit by a very nice Sunstrike. Sorry I missed that. I was talking about irrelevant things. But yeah, the Brewmaster got picked up by a Sunstrike, and the Darkseer was simply caught without Surge because he had Surged the Brewmaster away. So a very nice Sunstrike lining up the kill. I could be wrong actually, I didn't actually see the Sunstrike, but I heard it and the Brewmaster died immediately after, so my apologies if I missed that completely. So the lanes are kind of returning to static here. Interesting to see that we haven't seen the Keeper of the Light or the Jakiro roam at all this game, even though the Brewmaster has been moving in and out, and the lanes has stayed mostly static the whole time. But their presence here is completely shed on the Luna. The Luna is currently at no items. She only has Trinko Boots at 10 minutes of the game. She has 11 CS, she has only branches again and the Trinko Boots, and she's only level 5. She's currently being, I believe she's actually currently being out-leveled by her support, yeah. The support Rubik in her lane is actually a level over her, so she's going to be very hard-pressed to do anything this game. She's going to have to spend a lot of time catching up, and the Luna 5-man is not going to be as scary. She's going to be very far from any item she's going for, whether it's the drums or the BKB or the Manta style. All of those items are at least 10 minutes away from her, I would say. Maybe not the drums, but the larger items are going to be a while off. So on top lane, taking a look at the status, we see the Lone Druid has about halfway to his Relic. The Clinks is going for Orchid first. We see the Oblivion Staff, first Oblivion Staff completed without boots, and then he is beginning to work on the second Oblivion Staff. So he's going to have his Orchid in a little bit of time. Oh, sorry, I missed a fight in the bottom lane. Looks like Jakiro has gone down, and Rubik has also gone down. Eclipse goes off without rage by the Nyx, and the Nyx gets picked off. The Brewmaster came down, of course, for the gank. The Keeper of the Light completely overstays his welcome. He's going to get picked off. He's going to get stunned right before the ult runs out. He's going to get stunned. The Brewmaster is going to change back into Panda form and not pursue because of the TPs coming down. They've been caught by Brewmaster ganks quite a bit this game, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't had any smokes. He's just literally walked down the river, or walked around into the lane, so a little bit of sloppy play there, not catching that. Cuddle Blast finishing off the Darkseer, who got caught out after the fight, overstayed his welcome. He should have known to run as soon as the rest of his team is gone. Of course, the Luna left very early, and the Rubik was dead, so he kind of stayed here by himself with the enemy team teleporting in. Of course, the Brewmaster had used his ult already and wasn't going to be very useful after that. So we see the battle of supports here, Jakiro versus the Rubik, and of course Rubik is a much better offensive hero than Jakiro is. And of course the Jakiro is, I'm pretty sure the Jakiro is, oh, they're actually the same level, but the Jakiro is low on HP and mana, so he's going to have to back off. Looks like the Invoker's going to take over this late. If the Lifesteal teleported mid, I feel like he could actually stay in that lane. He has a pretty good matchup against the Brewmaster, so it looks like, is that what they're going to be doing? No, they're going to shift the Lifesteal back. I'm not sure what that Rubik is doing. The Rubik auto-attacks the Nyx, and then lifts an illusion onto the high ground. I'm really not sure about that play. He had a ward, he had to have known. He walked down this way while the Nyx was taking the rune. I'm almost certain that he would have seen the Nyx take the rune from here. But of course he was completely out of position. He was cut out by 3 heroes from this side, and was caught in the river with the Nyx coming on the other side. So maybe he was warding. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, kind of a sloppy play, I feel. In the end, it's not really a biggest deal.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Looks like the Luna's starting to catch a little bit, but she has 1/3 of the Lone Druid's farm, and more or less 1/3 of the Clink's farm, a little bit more than that. So she's going to be she's going to be very hard behind. She's going to be very far behind this game. Their saving grace, of course, is that Clink's the backup carry. being played in the off lane. So he's having a little bit of a rough time against the lone druid, but he's at least able to farm and pick up some items. He's getting very close to his Orc Malevolence. However, he does need to pick up boots. Probably power treads before he can really start being very scary in team fights. Of course, Clinks is a hero that doesn't need boots in lane. He is, with his Windwalk, he can escape, or sorry, not Windwalk, Shadow Walk I believe it's called? Skeleton Walk. With his Skeleton Walk he can escape ganks very well and makes him move very quickly. However, in team fights, obviously you can't have Skeleton Walk all the time, so it's very important for him to pick up the boots so that he can keep on his targets. Looks like Rubik's going to use Spell Steal and take Rage. A moderately useful ability. It's not of course, it's not a bad thing to have, but Rubik could take much more useful abilities. Having 6 seconds match immunity on Rubik is not really the biggest deal in the world. We see the Luna trying to make some plays here with the Darkseer. Darkseer going to haste himself. Luna, of course, already has the haste rune. Brewmaster is farming mid, and the Invoker looks like he smells something coming. They kind of walked in 2 different ways. Almost had to expect for certain that there was going to be a ward that was watching them. I don't think there was. It may have just died, but again, it's not exactly the best way to walk. Looks like the Clinks is going to lose his tower to the Lone Druid. Again, kind of expected. Looks like he's going to make it. No, he's just going to buy his Orchid. He's now just a recipe away from the Orchid. And of course, the Lone Druid very strong at pushing and is basically being left alone the entire game up on this lane. So yeah, he's just been farming up a storm. He's almost at his relic. 15 minutes in a solo lane is respectable. He has 76 CS, which is very good. About a little more than 5 minutes, I think. Just about 5 minutes actually. Sorry, I'm missing more action down here. Looks like the 2 supports will get picked off by another Brewmaster dig. This is the 3rd or 4th time this has happened in this game. I really feel like they should be expecting things like this. Brewmaster has just been running through the woods or down river, and every time he's left, he's gone to the bottom lane. So I really feel like they should be expecting this every time the Brewmaster leaves his lane. But yeah, we see the next return of farming. Again, every time they come here, they kill. If we look at the KDR, if we look at the KDR, we see that the Nax only died once. Of course, the supports have died many times. Both the Keeper of the Light and the Jakiro have died 4 times, but the Nax only once. So while the Brewmaster ganks are picking up the supports, he hasn't really done much to the Nax. The Nax, of course, has 70 CS. Again, way more than both the Clinks. Actually, no, he's about even with the Clinks, but he has much more than the Luna. So even though the Brewmaster are creating a lot of pressure on this lane, every time the supports respawn, they just TP back, and the lane returns to normal with Luna being unable to farm. In fact, I'm not even sure where Luna is at the moment. I guess she's been sitting back the entire time. She cannot, she actually can't do anything on this lane. She can't even get near the tower at this point with 4 heroes there. And the Brewmaster is going to stay, or no, the Darkseer is going to be mid. Looks like the Brewmaster is going to TP bot. No, the Brewmaster is shopping. And it looks like the Brewmaster might want to create some pressure on the top lane. He does have his ultimate, and he has a Blink Dagger finished, so he can create pressure right now. Looks like a dive happening. Looks like the Rage did come in handy in the end for the Rubik, but the Luna is not so lucky. Of course, Luna is a hero that has no escapes. The Brewmaster wants to make a go. He's going in, and he has his ultimate. The Keeper of the Light will almost certainly die. A really nice ice path, and all pop by the Brewmaster. Spirits doing a lot of damage from the back. However, they're attacking creeps right now, so not doing that much. The Rubik will escape. The Nax is going to be stunned, and he's going to be chased down by the Brewmaster. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be just okay though. The Brewmaster, a very good micro. Nax invites the creep. Comes out of the creep. The Brewmaster's ult ends. Jakiro comes from the back, and the Brewmaster gets completely sniped. Overextending a lot there. Should have known that his ult was about to run out. And it was only a level 1 ult. He should have known that he couldn't have possibly killed the Nax in time. Not with Infest still up. So overextending and getting punished for it. The Nax, of course, just go back to farming. They're going to get this tower almost for sure. The Jakiro is going to probably... Oh no, the Jakiro is in the camp here. I was saying that he should probably hit the tower once to Liquid Fire and then leave. Of course, he should still be okay. The Luna making a very poor decision, TPing down to the lane. There are going to be 2 TPs to save her, and it looks like it might be the Dire that are caught here. The Invoker 4 stabs out. The Jakiro is being chased, but the Keeper of the Light is here. The Nax is going to sorry, the Klinks is going to stay behind. Two Ice Paths going out, one from Rubik, one from the Jakiro. Looks like the Jakiro is going to pick off the Klinks, and the Klinks is also going to pick off the Invoker from the back. The Klinks is probably going to clean up the rest of this fight for them. The Nyx is doing what he can. He's chopping away at the Klinks, but the the Peel is going to get him off the Klinks, and he's going to immediately die from the Orchid proc. So, I'm not sure if that was an Orchid proc, actually. That might have been a Lucid Beam, but he took a lot of burst at the end there and quickly fell. Oh no, that might have been him turning off his armor. I believe that was him turning off his armor. So, all in all, a very, very good fight for the Radiant. The Luna looks like her ill-advised TP was actually, in the end, baited the enemy team into a very, very poor dive that cost them not only their own tower, but also the lives of 4 heroes. All the heroes except for the Lone Druid died at least once there on the side of the Dire. So they're going to save the second tower. It's going to take a little bit of damage, but yeah, to see the Radiant's going to back off, heal up, and continue to farm with a lot of pressure now applied to the bottom lane. So looks like the Lone Druid, of course, has bought his relic in that time. 19-minute relic, 19-minute Radiance, excuse me. It's not too bad. Looks like he's going to get chased down by the Klinks here. The Klinks, I'm pretty sure the Klinks cannot fight this Lone Druid, not with the bear here. However, with the Jakiro in the back, it might be possible. Ice Path misses. The Klinks is probably going to try to pick off the Jakiro while the Lone Druid is chasing down the Brewmaster. However, the Brewmaster ran too quickly, and the Klinks pops out of Invis. Is he going to get it? The Orchid proc might. No, the Orchid proc isn't going to be enough. But the Brewmaster blink certainly will be. The Klinks, of course, evades the Lone Druid's bear, and the Lone Druid is not able to get too much damage down to him. All in all, not too bad. They did commit 2 heroes to the Lone Druid without actually taking him down. The Jakiro died instead, and the Jakiro dying isn't the biggest deal. Klink's making kind of a mistake not turning on fire arrows while he was shooting the Invoker. Not too big of a deal. I don't think he was going to get killed anyway. Oh, a very beautiful Sunstrike. I completely missed that. I'm sorry. Beautiful Sunstrike by the Invoker, killing the Brewmaster. Let me see where that was. Wow. I feel like that was a completely blind Sunstrike. And sorry, I'm missing more kills. There's going to be a dive on the mid lane. Actually, not even a dive. Just a kill in the mid lane. And looks like the Darkseer got caught farming the jungle. We see a push on the secondary tower after, of course, picking off 2 very important heroes. At this point, the Rubik is probably more useful than the Luna, considering that he has much more kills and is about the same level, and of course, he is a much more useful hero without items. Looks like the Dire is just going to group as 5 with behind the Lone Druid, his bear, and behind the Lone Druid bear, and they're going to be pushing down. They're going to be trying to go high ground, but the Brewmaster and the Rubik respawn, so they're going to have to settle for a tier 2 tower instead. The Invoker is getting picked off, or getting caught behind the tower, turns around to try to save the Jakiro, but he's going to get caught by the blink from the Brewmaster. A very nice Deafening Blast saves him. Brewmaster ult goes down, wall of Replic goes down, but it's a really, really bad wall. 2 heroes do get pushed into it. The bear dies, and looks like the Lone Druid barely doesn't survive. Looks like the Invoker got picked off as well. I believe that happened at the beginning of the fight, actually. The Nyx is going to make a hasty retreat here. I don't think anything's going to be able to happen to the Nyx, though. The Keeper of the Light running away. He knows the Klinks could be nearby. Looks like the Klinks is going to keep an eye on the Nyx. There's going to be a blink from the Brewmaster, I believe, to set this up. And it looks like the Nyx smells what's going on and backs off. So Nyx is going to devour a creep and leave one here so that it can't be farmed in the future, and they're going to take this tower. So I don't think they're going to be able to back in time to mount a defense. The Lone Druid is the scariest hero on the Dire right now, and with him dead for 18 seconds, this tower is almost certainly going to die to the fire arrows. They really shouldn't be here. They can get picked off almost immediately, I feel. Mana Void goes down. Oh, looks like they actually did manage to save it. Looks like the Radiant got very scared and didn't want to fight without the Panda ultimate. Oh, it looks like a blink. Oh, sorry, that was the Panda blink. So the Radiant did get frightened away by the TPs, and the Dire were able to deny the tower. So a good victory for the Dire there. Returning to farming, they're all together in top lane. I feel like if there was a tower there, they would almost certainly push it, but there isn't. So they're just gonna have to disperse or return to lanes. Looks like the Lone Druid went out to the bottom lane. He has 2100 gold right now, and his bear... Where is his bear? There's his bear. His bear has picked up a Hyperstone, so getting very stacked. Going for the Assault Cuirass next. He's about he's about halfway to the Assault Cuirass, I believe, unless he finished it already. Huh? Oh no, the 2100 gold he had was on the Hyperstone. Okay, so he's about a third of the way to the Assault Cuirass. The bear is going to get hit by Ion Shell here. He's going to have to run away, but it'll be fine. Looks like in mid lane, there's a few heroes grouped up here. The Clinks is going to go in. Clinks is going... I feel like he was just in range of the tower there, maybe. He really needs to watch out for that. At this point in the game, it's not all uncommon for the tower to have fallen down, so it may have been a lapse in mind. So he really does need to be careful of walking into tower range, though. Looks like the Invoker is going to TP to mid lane. The Nags is going to stand on the front lines. He has finished drums and an armlet, but he hasn't gotten much after that. I feel like he might want to spend some time farming and pick up a large item. Of course, and he has 3 deaths, so he has been slowed down a little bit. Let's check the KDR really quickly. So the Darkseer and Invoker have a lot of kills with a lot of deaths. Same with the Brewmaster. We see a lot of kills for the Radiant, and not a lot on the Dire. Of course, the Luna doesn't have much still. Check her items really quickly. The Luna has more or less nothing. So, oh, we see the Darkseer getting caught in the jungle here. A beautiful ice path in the surge is going to lock him down. He is surging around really quickly. The tornado goes up and he drops the wall. Just try to do something, but quickly gets picked off. Of course, the Keeper of the Light, a very squishy hero, getting chunked very hard by that wall. And the Ion Shell, I'm assuming. So, quite a bit of damage taken there, but a free pick. Now the question is going to be, are they going to be able to make anything out of this? The Darkseer is dead for 30 seconds, the wall is down even when he respawns, for another 40 seconds beyond that. And so they could make a push on this tower if they so desired. But it looks like the Lone Druid's going to send his bear to the mid lane, probably to defend the tower with just Radiance Burn. And they're going to group and push the bottom tower. A very good decision. We see the bear doing his job here, pushing the wave back with his Radiance Burn. We see the Rubik, interestingly, appearing in the mid lane with the Clinks. Looks like they're going to try to get the trade for the tower. I don't think they'll be able to. The Dire is going to have actually, no. The Dire will not have fortification. So, with Clinks' very high damage towers, yeah, this is actually going to happen. They're actually going to pick off this tower. Very good movement on their part to pick off the middle tower with 2 heroes in trade for 5 heroes on the bottom lane. Looks like they might actually shift out to the top lane. They're going to farm this last wave. Let's see where they go from here. Looks like the Radiant's going to go, or the Dire is going to go for high ground. The Radiant is going to teleport. Yeah, they're going to teleport back home, so we're going to see a fight here. But they have to move quickly. The tower's almost dead. The tower is going to go down. They had the glyph, but didn't use it. Tower goes down, and looks like they're going to glyph their melee racks now. They're not. The Radiant is not, or the Dire is not backing off though. The bear is hitting away at the tower. The Luna's getting caught out. Luna does not get entangled, so the bear gets summoned back. The Brewmaster jumps in, claps, but does not ult. There goes the ult, but his rest of the team is not in position. The team cannot be in position to follow up. The Clinks is in the back, not doing too much damage. He's hitting the Lone Druid, and the Lone Druid taking lots of damage, but he should be okay for the time being. Looks like the Dire is making a hasty retreat. A stun goes on the Lone Druid, but the Panda ult is going to run out relatively soon here, and he's going to be in trouble when it does. There is the Panda ult, but he, quick fingers, blinks as soon as the ult ends, and only Rubik killed there. However, they're almost certainly going to lose the racks here. The Panda ult is down. The Luna ult is down. The wall is placed kind of in a strange position. Alacrity on the bear, and the racks is going to go down. And now the Radiant is really out of options here. I feel like the Dire could just heal up a little bit. I believe they have a mechanism. Looks like they don't. The Jakira has pieces of a mechanism, but doesn't actually have one. So they're not gonna try to push further. Of course, the wave was at their base. They're just gonna be satisfied with having picked off the bottom racks. I feel like they could have gone for Roshan there as well, but they chose to play it safe and all retreat. And let's look at the ults for a second. So the primal split won't be out for another 90 seconds. So that's a minute and a half where the Dire has a chance to make a move. Looks like they should go for Roshan at this point. I feel there's almost nothing stopping them. They can't. There's no giant black hole or giant ravage combo that can happen. So there's almost no risk in doing this Roshan right now. It looks like they're grouping up for it. They're standing. There are no wards where they're standing. So the Radiant really have no idea they're doing this into intuition. Looks like the Clink's gonna look around, try to find a support to pick off, but he's not looking in the right place. He's gonna get the Courier. The Courier goes down. Courier goes down with a Basher on it. So that's actually quite important. The Basher is gonna be laid for another 3 minutes now, and that's a decent amount of gold for the Dire. Looks like the Radiant is gonna challenge a Sortron attempt. The Clinks is going on the Jakiro, but the Clinks is completely by himself, gets locked down, and instantly killed. That was absolutely a mistake by the Clinks. He should have known better than try to pick off a hero by himself when the entire enemy team was in the vicinity. Clinks, of course, is a very squishy hero, and does not. While he can deal tons of damage, and he's very hard to fight one-on-one against when the team is hitting him, Clinks really has no options. And when he gets stunned, of course, he can't run away with the skeleton walk, so he's kind of just screwed. Now, we see another 5-man group here. The lone druid took the Aegis, and if I can find his bear, yeah. So on this bear right now, he has his items haven't changed. I believe that was his Basher on the Courier. Yeah, I believe that was his Basher on the Courier that got picked off. So he has 3k gold right now, I believe. And looks like the Luna is going to come down in front. That actually might have been a go if the Invoker could have picked her up with a Tornado or a Cold Snap, but nothing came out of that. Looks like the Luna is going to stand on this high ground. The Keeper of the Light is going to place a ward and get Chakra Magic stolen. Okay, Chakra Magic is a very good spell to steal in the laning phase, but after that, not so much. So it looks like the Bear's going to go in, the Brewmaster's going to clap, he has his ult back up, the Nax is going to go in. This is a very, very disorganized go right now. The Clinks also went in, but stood in the back. Looks like the fight's going to break out for real this time. The Invoker's getting Ghana, the mech gets popped on him. He's going to make it out with 450 HP. The Brewmaster blinks in, he does not ult. The Evoker gets completely overextended in the fight and gets picked off. Brewmaster ult goes down, they have no way of dealing with this right now, they have to back off. Looks like the Ghost Scepter's gonna get popped, the Jakiro teleports out with the Clinks going on him, but he does not make it out in time, just barely. Looks like the Ghost Scepter wears off on the Keeper of the Light, and he's going to get vacuumed back into the Ion Shell and get picked off. The Clinks, however, is found by the Bear right now, and the Bear is chasing him down, however, he can't get the kill. Aegis gets popped, however the the Lifestealer is still going strong. He still has a lot of mana, he still has Armlet, so he's actually going to be able to continue fighting for a long time. One more chop takes to the Clinks, he deactivates Armlet and goes down to about to very low HP, reactivates Armlet and tries to get some life back with the Feast. But looks like that's going to be that. In the end, fairly even trade, to be honest. I believe 3 supports were killed for the Dire, but the Radiant lost several important heroes as well, notably the Clinks. I believe the Brewmaster survived. Now we see Force Aghanim Scepter picked up on the Invoker. Of course, Aghanim Scepter, a very important spell for Exort Invokers because you have many more spells you need to cycle through rather than just the Tornado EMP. We see the Basher. Oh, I guess that was Lifestealer's Basher that got picked up, or that got dropped in the Courier, so he's going to have that Basher now. Oh wait, no. Hold on. Oh no, yeah, that's right. It was Lifestealer's Basher. Now, so he has his Basher, and he's going to be very fearsome in team fights. He's going to be able to hit very hard. He will be looking to turn that, of course, into the Abyssal Blade when he has a chance. Abyssal Blade, a very good item on the Lifestealer because he has a lot of trouble staying on targets, and the Abyssal Blade helps quite a lot with that. Looks like the Assault Cuirass has been finished on the Bear, and 1,500 gold left over. So it looks like the Dire is going to re-enter really quickly, picking up the Invoker. The Invoker overextended again, just like the last fight, I feel like. There's going to be a Mana Void on the Rubik, but not able to convert off that. So it's going to be a 4-5 situation, but does not look like the Radiant or the Dire is afraid. They're completely pushing. The Dire is backing off. They're still pushing forward even without the Invoker, who I feel like is a very important member of their team. Brewmaster ult will be up in 10 seconds, so they really, I feel like, yeah, it would be foolish to continue pushing at that point. Brewmaster picked up the Aghanim Scepter, so his ult is going to be even more powerful, but he does not opt for either the Assault Cuirass or the Vladimir's Offering, which would provide him with a lot of auras for his bears when he's in split form. Now, as far as farming goes, only the Luna is actually caught up quite admirably. I haven't checked on her in a long time. She's picked up the Manta style, but she still only has 1400 HP, which is quite easy to burn through, especially when you have such high damage heroes such as Nyx, and a Cold Snap on the Luna when her Manta style is down, followed by some auto attacks from the Baron from Nyx will quickly dispatch her. So she's still not a very big threat. Once she gets one more item, like a BKB, or even like a Helm the Dominator, so that she can survive in teamfights longer, that's when I feel like she'll be much scarier. But at the moment, she's still not a very big threat. She's only really useful for Eclipse at the moment. So if we look at the Dire, or the Radiant, they're completely relying on the Clinks for damage at this point. We have Rubik and the Brewmaster who can provide lots of disruption for the team, but the Brewmaster's damage is actually not that high, unless he targets, of course, he can always kill the Keeper of the Light and probably the Jakiro, but other than that, he can't actually do very much beyond that. He can only provide disruption and distract others in the teamfight. Looks like a teamfight might break out right now. Illumia being charged up. It's going to take out the wave very easily. Luna's going to stand in front, take a big blast to the face, down to not very much HP. Looks like she's going to get bitten by the bear. Alacrity can get put on the bear, but a little bit prematurely. I feel there were no creeps left and didn't get much mileage other than Alacrity. Not a problem though. With the Aghanim Scepter, he can switch between spells very quickly. Let's see if I feel like the Invoker really doesn't just stay in the back and focus on channeling spells at this point. The Ice Path goes down. Looks like there's no spam defense from the Radiant here. Kind of a mistake if you ask me. The creeps are going to be able to go on the tower without anything stopping them. No Ion Shell spam and no Fate Bolt to stop the creeps from approaching the tower. And look at that. Look at the poke Luna is taking. She's down to about 400 HP. She has to go heal. Pipe is forced as well. Probably Pipe there to save the Luna. And the Clinks is approaching from the left side. He has BKB and the Orchid, but he can do a ton of damage in fights, but he's also very, very squishy. Even with the BKB, he only has 1200 HP. And with the very high physical damage of the Dire with the Nyx, the Lifestealer, even the Lifestealer, the Lone Druid, and even the Invoker, it's going to be very difficult for him to stay alive if they turn to focus him. Again, of course, he and the Brewmaster are going to pick off the Keeper of the Light and the Jakiro, but it's very, very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to do much beyond that, because when the attention gets turned to him, he's going to have quite a lot of trouble staying alive. Random Iron Path going down. I'm not sure if he knows that does very low damage. Sentry Ward being placed, of course, to spot for the Clinks. The Clinks is currently standing in the back of his team, so that's also kind of a problem for the Clinks. The Clinks, as you saw before, he really tries to stand. Scratch that thought, actually. The Bear is going on the base right now with Alacrity and Warcry on. Looks like they're going to make a last-ditch defense here. All going off of the Brewmaster. Giant Vacuum pulls in all 5 of the heroes. As in every fight, the Invoker gets picked off first, and it looks like the Dire is going to make a hasty retreat here. The Jakiro gets spun up into the air. Looks like, however, like I said, there's no more damage to follow that up. The Clinks was chasing the supports. The Dire just disengaged, waited for the right opportunity, turned around, and completely destroyed the Clinks. And look at that, full HP on almost every hero. No damage taken other than by the support that got immediately picked up. Or not the support, but the Invoker who got immediately picked off. And there's just no more damage to follow up the initiation. The Brewmaster went in, ulted, and the Clinks followed, but after the initial vacuum initiation that set up the fight, there's just no more damage to follow that up. The Clinks can only do so much. The Clinks and the Brewmaster did pick off the Invoker, who was in front very quickly, but after that, the Clinks just couldn't catch up with the enemy in time, and then once he overextended himself, they just turned around and blew him up. And it looks like that's going to be the game here. All three Raxes are going to go down. GG is being called, and looks like that's it for the game. So this has been my demo for the UCSD Winter Games Fest. Excuse my really, really shitty observing. I'm really bad at observing. And